Hi, I am Emily Wilkins, and I'm going to tell you about my cultural diversity field experience that I went through this semester. So, my experience was done at Skyview High School in an ESL classroom. In this classroom, I had about 10 students who were all new to America. They'd only been here for less than like 3 years, and they all spoke Spanish and just a little bit of English. Obviously, they were all at different levels in their English, but most of them were not very strong in English. So I mostly worked with a kid named Javier. He was a senior, and he told me that he was better at reading English than hearing English. My very first day, I worked on a science project with him. We had to watch a movie, a documentary on global warming, and answer questions as we watched the movie. And about 8 questions in, I had realized that, after every question was being like answered on the movie, I had to stop and be like, okay, you need to listen because we just passed an answer. And so I'd replay it for him at least 3 times and he still wouldn't get it. So finally, after like the 8th time, I asked him, I said, do you understand what the movie is saying? And he told me he didn't understand English. It was hard for him to hear it through the documentary because it goes too fast. And he basically just wanted me to give him the answers because he needed to get through the assignment. And so I asked the teacher, I said, is there any way we could print out the words of this documentary for the student because he's not learning anything from it? And the teacher said no, and he just needs to get through the assignment. And this was really sad to me that they're making them do these assignments that aren't benefiting them. And no one's finding ways to help them get around this situation. So this was kind of eye opening. Also, it was hard for me to see that these high school students who are so far in their education and are so smart struggle because there's this language barrier. One thing that Skyview did that my high school did not offer was they offered classes in Spanish. There was like a biology class offered only in Spanish, and so that was really helpful, except that it didn't allow them to practice their English to their full potential, which could have been kind of damaging on their education as well. But they definitely appreciated those classes. I asked some of them about it, and they said it was very helpful to them. Um, so going through this experience made me really think about what I would do if I was in this situation as a teacher and how I would help these students progress in their education with this language barrier. And I'm definitely going to have to keep thinking of strategies, but I want to be a teacher that provides as much support as I can and to find the alternative ways for my students, like printing out words from the documentary for them to read along to, and having them look up words that they don't know right away in a dictionary to help them learn, and to offer them my time to give whatever I need to them to help them learn. Um, so yeah, another thing that I struggled with when I walked in was obviously I'm a young white female, so these boys in the class, they were talking in Spanish to each other and they would laugh a lot, and I knew that I was being stereotyped for sure right away. And one-on-one, they took me very seriously. Like when I'd go out in the hallway and read with them, they took it very seriously. They wanted to learn, they were motivated. But when they were together, they would laugh and make jokes. And so after the first couple of times when I wasn't getting, the attention that I needed from them, I started to joke around with them and poke fun at them. And that helped me connect with these boys, and it made them respect me a little more and want to actually listen to what I had to say. So that was also kind of fun, and it makes a huge difference when you can actually connect with your students, how much respect that they will give back to you and how much attention they'll give. So from me, they learned that I guess perseverance through assignments. They had a lot of like geometry questions and a lot of math questions, which isn't my strong suit, but each question that they would ask me that I didn't know, I would get online and I would figure out how to do it and walk them through the steps. And I taught them that you can't just give up after one problem, and that's probably why they have a lot of assignments missing in the book. So I think I definitely taught them perseverance, and I taught them tools of how to find answers and how to learn how to get answers if they don't know. Also, I taught them a lot about following your goals. A lot of them talked to me about wanting to go to college someday, but they didn't think that they knew how or they wouldn't be able to afford it. And so I taught them a lot about their options like scholarships and financial aid, and how important it is to get good grades so you can get those things, so you can get the options to get college paid for. That was something that was really eye-opening to them. A lot of them hadn't even heard of financial aid. So I think that their minds kind of opened up, and they kind of felt a sense of hope that they would be able to go to college, since a lot of their parents didn't. Pretty much none of their parents did. So yeah, they taught me a lot about motivation and what a struggle it is to come to a new country. And like, of course, I knew that people went from different countries and there was language barriers and such, but I've never seen kids work so hard in a class. The big difference between these students that I had in this ESL classroom and all my other students that I have in, normal health classes and stuff from my other field experiences is that these students worked harder and they wanted to learn more than any other students I've ever seen. One-on-one, they wanted to get past this language barrier. They wanted to learn English. They want to succeed. In my other classes that I have observed, these kids, they didn't have this barrier. They felt entitled to their education. They knew they were going to get their education, and they were okay with missing class, and they were okay with, not paying attention when the teacher was talking. Whereas these students in my ESL classroom, they are fighting for their education. They can't come to school every day that they want to, and they were getting their assignments in. They wanted to get their assignments in. They were trying, and they wanted to hear what I had to say, and they wanted to learn from the teacher, and they weren't afraid to ask me questions. Their hands were going up constantly to talk to me and learn what they could from me. So that was really eye-opening. Students who have to work for their education, they're obviously going to want it more than those who don't. So that was really awesome. So yeah, that was about my ESL class, and I hope to be put in more classrooms like this. I hope to be challenged with students who are from a different culture, who speak a different language. That's what makes you a better teacher, and that's what makes you reflect on yourself to learn new strategies to help these students succeed. So yeah, thank you for watching.